out there, but I'm just seeing names that are people I recognize from before that I haven't seen in a while. Steve, you've been around actually on several other webinars, but we're going to have fun today with interviewing a couple of our newer staff members for our environmental group in Ohio, and they both have a lot more in common with me and with our community than just being environmental workers, although that in and of itself is enough, but they're both outdoors people in a big way. And we've not talked about that a lot. We've talked a little. I'll give one example. Cam keeps a journal of his muskie fishing, and we haven't talked about any details of it. What's the biggest you've caught, Cam?
I think right now I'm still working to break 50 inches. I think 48 is my biggest so far.
And do muskie fishermen describe their fish by length or by weight ever?
Usually it's just by inches because there's not really a great safe way to weigh them without harming them.
Okay. And are muskie protected? Can you keep anything that you catch, or would you?
You can, I wouldn't. There's a lot better tasting fish out there. They're very slimy and very their main forage is shad, big like gizzard shad in Ohio, and you can tell that every time you catch one. They're very smelly, and you can tell that down to the fillet too if you end up cleaning one.
How big do your shad get? We have shad out here in the West, so but they don't typically get very big. They're a pretty common food for trout. So
Our big ones are probably about 10 to 12 inch. Now most of them are, 2, 3, 4 inches, but every once in a while you'll find the real big ones.
by the way, I'm glad Gray turned his camera on. But unlike our staff calls we do, which we just finished one, everybody. We were 20 minutes ago, we were all on, but we don't usually turn our cameras on then. But this way you get to see these guys too. And as you can see, young guys. Look at this. We've got not one of these two. So tell me who we got here. Is it one of you guys when you're younger? Is this one of the two of you when you were younger?
Young Cameron, isn't it?
Is it young Cam?
Where are we at? Oh, yeah. I see it now. Yeah, that was back in college, bow fishing.
All right. Never have done that. Tell me a little bit about bow fishing.
We have a big carp problem around here, and they're one of the main. Some are it's called invasive species around here, so you can have pretty unrestricted means of taking them from the water. So I always take my canoe or kayak and paddle around, look for carp in the shallows, and stand up and shoot them with the bow.
What correction do you have to make as the arrow hits the water compared to going through the air?
Depends how deep the fish is. It's pretty much off instinct, but if you're probably at least aiming 4 to 6 inches below the surface if they're in shallow water. If they're any deeper, you're really accounting for that refraction, and you're a good foot underneath where you see the fish.
Okay. Um, and do you use a broadhead? What kind of a arrow do you use?
It's a longer fiberglass arrow with a balance counterweight on the end, and the tip on it is just a normal point with two barbs that come back this way to hold the fish. And then after you shoot the fish, you unscrew the barb, and the two barbs flip around and you can slide it off the arrow.
Cool. Oh, that makes it and so completely reusable that way.
Yeah, I use the same arrow for multiple years.
Have you guys heard me talk about how um, we underestimate and underappreciate carp in this country as a food fish?
Mhm.
Carp are in the most eaten seafood in the world because the Asians, it's their staple. Most rural Chinese will eat more carp than they'll eat anything else. Now, remember, carp is a very broad category of fish. There's a lot of species of carp, different varieties. But they know how to either boil them, prepare them, and basically know how to prepare them so that they don't have to deal with the bones like we do and create a prop with. But I've had carp probably 4 or 5 times. I will tell you, I don't think that it was ever prepared right. I did boil some myself and was able to deal with any bone issues, but it just the taste, the texture was just not good. So it was almost rubbery. And but again, it is, if you go by pounds eaten worldwide, the most eaten aquatically grown organism, so it grows in a water environment, is a carp. Number two is not something most people guess either. Tell me what you think that is.
Tuna?
What do you
Yeah,
think?
I get.
Seaweed.
Oh, wow.
And again, how much seaweed do Americans eat? Not much. We do eat supplements, and we have kelp that's used as an additive, for example, at times. But they literally in Asia will eat it like we eat lettuce.
Hmm.
And it's good, actually. It really, seawater kelp grown in saline situations, especially on coral reefs and such, is excellent tasting and can be really great in terms of its texture and everything. That's a nice tom, by the way. We'll talk about that in a second. So now we're going to go down the ladder a little. What do you think's number 3 to 5? So you would never have guessed carp as number 1. And you probably would never have guessed seaweed as number 2, kelp. It's really seaweed broadly. What do you think is in the next ones you might get? And they vary from year to year. The first two, kelp and carp, have been in that order for a lot of years. Kelp being number 2 and carp being number 1.
Are we still on the?
Shrimp is always in the 3 to 5 range. So and that's a broad category, but freshwater shrimp, marine shrimp, mostly marine, and most of it grown in aquaculture. It's not mostly wild. By the way, carp very rarely are grown in any kind of culture systems. They're almost always wild. Um, but shrimp is in that 3 to 5 range. And then you start to get to ones you might guess they're not really very often in the US, but and that's tilapia is typically in the 3 to 5 range. And catfish is in the 3 to 5 range because of what, it's not Asians. Asians will eat catfish. There aren't as many in Asia, but where do you think most the and it's not the US, it's not North America. Where do you think more catfish are eaten maybe than anywhere else in the world?
I
Africa.
know. Oh,
And again, from the wild, not cultured typically. So they're caught and netted in some cases, and in other cases speared, and probably speared or netted more than anything. But the catfish is up there. you have to get really drill down before you get to like trout, let's say, or any kind of salmon, salmonids. They're probably in the top 10. Maybe salmon, like salmon and trout together might be in the top 10, but it, it'd be interesting. And by the way, there's different measuring. There's all kinds. So the um, different agencies measure them different ways and report them different ways. Anyway, so what do you enjoy hunting the most, Cam? I think
Most,
the same question for you is going to be next.
yeah, I spend most of my time deer hunting just because I'm, central Ohio. That's the main attraction where people travel all around the world to come to.
And you hunt in a blind? Tell me your hunting technique for deer mostly.
I hunt out of it's called a tree saddle,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a newer thing, but I hunt mostly public land, so I'm constantly moving around. So I'm able to wear that saddle in with me so I can climb any tree.
And I don't know that I've asked. Gray, is hunting and a hobby of yours also?
Oh yeah, I'm not as social media present as Cameron is. You won't find a lot of pictures. I think that's the last thing I posted on Facebook in probably 5 years. But I mostly deer hunt, squirrel hunt, mostly gun hunting. But same as Cameron. We have so much great land around here. It's hard not to. So it's good to be out. I just hunt out a tree
What do you
stand.
shoot squirrels with? What pellet guns, 22s?
I have used a 22, a single shot 410, and a 20 gauge. You just got to hit them in the head. So
Wouldn't you blow a squirrel apart with double aught or a slug of a 20 gauge? Or are you talking 20 gauge with like
yeah,
seven and a half? I mean, some kind of a bird shot in it.
yeah, 20 gauge with a really small spread on it. And like I said, I usually aim right at the front of like their face, and then with the little bit of spread, I'm usually a pretty good shot. I've never caught a squirrel in the body that I've shot, and I've taken probably 10 or I think 11, but still not a lot.
I don't believe I've ever eaten a squirrel. Tell me about the taste. What's it like? And so on.
It's very, very light. It's very light. I would never think of it as like a meal. It's always like a snack. Like I had 3 squirrels at once with beans, and that was a great meal. Skinning them is really easy. You just gut them and peel the skin off. You just chop the tail right off and slit it open. I put salt on it, and I have all my squirrel tails still. I just put it in a pot and boil them, and then you eat it just like little chicken wings. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Wild turkeys, how do you compare them, either one of you, taste-wise, to something that you'd buy, for a Thanksgiving dinner in a store?
Not close.
no.
Very different. The turkey in the store is more of a white meat, and the wild turkey it's all dark meat, and it's not gamey. It's still very good meat. It's just completely different.
Well, and the dark meat's actually active muscle, and then that's the
Mhm.
reason, because those birds are, having to use their muscles to live, basically. So, let's leave the hunting for a second, and either one of you go first, but tell me a little bit about how you decided that you wanted to do something in the environmental area as a career, where it hit you in your lives, how it hit you, was there somebody who was an influence, and so on. Go ahead and start. Gray.
Well,
I'll do because Gray, you go ahead and start.
Environmentally, I think overall, I've just always been outside, just what my family does for fun, kind of go hiking, go hunting, go fishing. So, but in college, I had the opportunity to volunteer at a wolf sanctuary. And so every weekend for I want to say the majority of a year. I would go down and just hang out with wolves and feed wolves and meet a bunch of different environmental people that, they were interested in aviary stuff. Or one guy would camp down at a creek and we'd hang out every weekend. So just, I met a lot of really cool people when I was at a point to make that choice. And they kind of led me into, yeah, this is really a great idea. So now that I did it, I've been tree farming and hunting and hiking and camping in Pennsylvania and Michigan and the Upper Peninsula and Ohio, and just I love it. I love being outside. I try to get away from technology as much as I can and just go outdoors. So
And why did you choose where you went to school to get some education? And why that location versus somewhere else? And tell us
in
about that.
in all honesty, I grew up in a very small Amish town, and so I wanted to get away from that and kind of experience something else. And I went on a 9 different tours to schools, and just settled on Wittenberg because it was a nice, small school, but I met good professors and good people and wasn't too far from home. And then I actually got to work with a professor from Mississippi who did turkey migration studies. His name's Dr. Phillips. And aside from his manner of speaking, right, the big heavy Mississippi accent, but he's also a very funny guy. He was a very impactful professor for us. He was one of the hands-on, really get out and do stuff in the field to understand what it's going to be like. So that was huge for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Same questions for you, Cam.
Yeah, I spent a absurd amount of time hunting and fishing growing up, and I just could not imagine not having a job related to the environmental field. And coming out of college, I tried to I was a fireman and a medic for our city a couple years, and could always saw myself coming back to this field, and that's finally landed here and having a lot better of a time.
Yes.
So tell again, you guys are both relatively new working with us. I've not asked them this question, but tell the audience what a day in your work life would look like. And again, let's start with Gray. Now let's switch it. You start first, Cam. So just your kind of average day so people can get an idea, and then the same question for you.
Yeah, we've got our site in Vandalia, a little bit north of Dayton, and just we've got various tasks that get completed depending on the month or quarter. So this month we have, I think, 200 and some monitoring wells, but this month we're only sampling roughly 50, just getting a water table level and taking that data, recording it, getting time, date, and also managing in the factory itself, the subslab system. We're pulling the air from below the factory, putting it out on the roof. So making sure all that's running properly, not letting any air into the factory. And also just managing our new pilot system, just making sure all of our electric system is still functioning out there day to day.
Cool. Anything different, Gray? If it's the same kind of thing, say ditto or whatever, but if you've got different perceptions, go ahead.
I think he hit kind of the overarching what we do. The only thing I'd really add is it's a nice, big, mostly abandoned factory that we get to walk through every day and kind of just, like he said, monitor everything and make sure everything's going well. It's just a very different experience than anything. We have our own office that's kind of tucked away in this massive space, and go outside, come inside, go up on the roof, go into some building and check on a electrical system to make sure it's functioning properly. It's just, it's monitoring and maintaining, but it's not everything the same every day. It's something different. So it's a good time.
How different is this than you perceived that this kind of a job would be? Go ahead, you start since you were just finishing.
Significantly. Very different.
Yeah. Good way, bad way, neutral way?
Um,
Don't worry about the fact you work for me. You can say it's bad if it is. So I really need to know.
I I expected the regular write down the time, fill out a table, put the data on a sheet, get it somewhere. I am delighted to find that it matters and I'm more a part of it than just kind of collecting the data. I'm evaluating it, I'm understanding it, I'm learning about it, I'm presenting it to people. That's awesome to me to actually have a hand in it instead of just, being a numbers person. So that's really good fun for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's a lot different than I expected, but I love it. It's working this job. I feel like I've learned more just since I've started back in March than I did in a couple years of college about the environmental field.
let's stay with you and then go to Gray next. This one, next one. And again, these guys are very new to this position. Um, do you feel like we're doing something at the site generally that's of value? Have you, that truly, as we're doing it and we get it done, that it's going to help mankind? I mean, do you feel that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at the numbers that before my time, the people working my position before that had been recorded and your work as well, you can look at the data and see that the numbers are improving.
Cool. Gray?
That's exactly what I'd say. I think, when it comes to something numeric, it's just a fact. It's data. The data says that we're fixing it. So I don't know how that would be negative. So yeah, going in to do something every day that might not matter day to day, but in the very long term, it's going to fix it and be able to go forward. That's a big deal.
Sites are these, Mark. I didn't recognize that one. I thought you could actually pull up the Vandalia site, Mark, pretty easily. Guys, he uses an address on a map. It'd be, uh,
250 Northwoods Boulevard.
yeah,
Yeah.
just give them the specific address. You can find it. And yeah, let's pull that up, and then I'll ask each of you to give a brief tour. So one of you take the outside, meaning you just kind of have Mark directed, and you just tell people kind of where our samples are around it and what you do, and then the other one sort of talk about the inside and including the air treatment system, which is on the roof. So
Yeah.
I believe you're going to see that from it. So.
Cam preference.
Oh, I don't mind.
Yeah, you guys choose between yourselves.
Uh,
Mark, I think you've got the Flying J that's across the street. Yeah, you're seeing
Right.
it there, but let's see if there's one that's a real aerial of it rather than these. These are weird
In the
views.
search bar, I'd add 250 just to get a specific address in the front.
Yeah, we want it right on the top. We don't want the views you've got, Mark. We want to look at
Okay.
from above on the map, on a map. That's the entrance, and they're in one of those pictures, but there you
Yeah.
go.
there you go.
There it is. That's the site. So whoever's going to talk about the outside related and what you do, have him zoom away when you do that, and the other one take and describe what is inside, sort of in relationship to the things you see there. Mark, and slow down, Mark. Don't go real fast with this. So you listen to these guys, and they'll tell you what to do. So go ahead.
I can get started on the outside here. Just while you're looking at from the aerial here, the western side of the building is what we call our overburden field. And we have close to probably between 150 and 200 monitoring wells in that basically big parking lot right under where it says Northwoods Boulevard there. Yep, in that square block. And it's just I'm not sure what was there at one point. Was that also another building
It
before?
Yeah.
was, yes, that was a building, the same size. They were almost exactly 750,000 each. So
Mhm.
yes, And the parking lot is really what was on the edges. There really is. And you can tell in this picture what looks dark in color was the parking lot. The building is what looks a little more gray and beige in color. And there were actually some little courtyard areas, which is what looks green right now, because the trees and vegetation had grown up over those areas. So below where it says diversified mechanical systems, there's a little rectangular area. That was a little courtyard that was in sort of had, yeah, right there. That one above it, above where you're at now, or that right there, the bottom of your arrow is on it now. All right, so by the way, everybody in the audience, I could be telling this and I just don't want to do it. I really want to let them do it because I've been here for 9 years now at the site. But whoa, what happened there? So now tell them generally, really go farther away, Mark, and tell the audience where we are here, guys, compared to other landmarks. So I think everybody can see the airport, but tell them about other things that are around this and such.
Around there, outside of probably the whole, it's probably a 5 mile stretch of the Dayton International Airport across the street.
A lot. I mean, that's truly the only big thing there is the airport. There's a massive Chewy warehouse, like the dog website. 10 miles south is the heart of Dayton, straight down 75 and east a little bit. You run yourself into Dayton, which is where a ton of different things happen. East of Dayton is the Wright-Patt Air Force Base. That's the other kind of big note just in the area, but that's, I mean, a pretty good bit out. If we're looking just immediate there, there's a park to the east. I think you're on it right now. That's what river is that, Cameron? Is that the Mad?
That's the Greater
Should be
Miami.
the Great Miami.
Miami, right.
So go up, Mark, to where that Kroger's is at the bottom of your picture, that right there. And these guys, this is me educating them a little bit now. They take samples out in those farm fields over on the right-hand side near Castle Road. We actually have one residence that's on Castle Road. It's probably that one that's up near the top of the picture where it's the only well where drinking water could come from in this whole region. And now just scroll over a little, Mark, to the right to see where the Greater Miami River is. There. Well, there you're on. There you have it. Okay. I keep saying greater, the Great Miami. Guys, can you point out kind of where the springs are that we sample? Can you tell, Mark, is it below where those little squares are at the top of or is it above where it says Great Miami River, or below there? Or
it's right
don't
along.
worry if you can't figure out exactly where it is, but
You're close to in the right area where it says Great Miami River.
Yeah. Because there's a walking trail that you're on with your mouse right now, and we walk that to be able to access some of the springs. So you're right in the right area.
All right. And guys, the reason we sample these springs is the pollution, so the contamination that occurred at this site, which is where the red marker is, pin, down in the left-hand corner of the image now. That's the building. We're going to talk about the building in a little bit, but that pollution has come, and at the worst, it was going out through these springs, coming out with water that are emerging from the ground in springs. But you heard these guys say it earlier. We just sampled those springs a month and a half ago. They're all clean now. So it shows that plume is not out there anymore. Plume means, picture an underground lake below the ground surface, from 10 feet at the highest to down to 150 feet below the surface. That was contaminated. And it was going in the direction of where those springs are. There's a much more residential below. So if we go down below, guys, is that site where that shows Deer Run Road in Old Springfield? Is that all developed now? That's a new warehouse up there, isn't it? Or is that maybe even where Chewy is?
Chewy's west of the airport.
Oh, it's west. Okay. Anyway, those subdivisions right there, there was a real worry that the plume would go there, but it didn't. And even 20 years ago, we sampled, and there used to be, there still are probably a number of wells underneath all those houses that Mark's cursor is sitting on, Spartan Avenue, Bristol Drive, Roxana, all those.
Mhm.
But it never went that way. Fortunately, it sort of went north and east, excuse me, and towards those farm fields. And we take samples out in that forested area, and we take samples in that farm field. And as these guys said, and they actually underestimated, we have over 300 wells. And a lot of those have already been abandoned and are not sampled any longer, but some of them are still. So but it is getting better. It's a good story. Anyway, let's go back to the building now. Let's stop for a second, though, and see if the audience has questions for these guys. We're a half an hour into it. So if you've got anything, put it in the chat. And Mark, would you be looking for it? Because I'm not going to be able to do it as I sort of look at my screen and help them talk through it. So go to where the red mark is, the red dot mark, and you're going to expand on that. And guys, show Mark where there's evidence of where, I think you can see it, where this indoor air system exhausts up on the roof, because you can't necessarily see the actual pumps, but I think as he gets it fully, Mark, go as far, get down as close as you can get to it. Boy, it's good resolution here. You actually can see where these are. That you're seeing them actually. There's two of them right there.
Mhm.
Those white dots, excuse me, black dots in white squares are we have 12 different systems, everybody, that are coming out up on the roof. And that's two of them. And let's see if we can see some of the others.
No, there's one right next to that blue building on top, right on the corner. You can little further left, the one on
The one with the
Like 9 o'clock.
the left side.
it's on the left side of your picture, Mark, on the left bottom.
Yep.
Nope, you're going the wrong way. That's the right. Go the other direction.
That blue building on the bottom right corner.
There.
Right. Yep.
Yep, right there.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is to the right side there. Yeah. And those are everybody, this is the top of a building. And notice that they called them buildings on top. That's another story that's up above there for some kind of treatment equipment or exhaust equipment that was used when this facility manufactured different things for automobiles. And they made a lot of plastics here. They made the dashboards for cars. They made the plastic that went around the heating and air conditioning inside the cab of a car. And there are walls up there, and that's what the ladders you're seeing. Mark's right by one right now in the middle of the screen. That's a ladder going over a wall that's up on the roof. And that actually, guys, I don't remember whether those two are at different levels, but the roof is at different heights in different places.
Mm-hmm.
Commercial buildings are really complex up on their roofs. So now zoom out again so they can see the whole building, and tell them where different things are inside that building right now. Have Mark point to where your office is, and
So
where the entrance is, and so on.
So that blue awning on the back side right there. Yep. That's where we park and enter. And then maybe, I don't know, 50 foot, there's a little office that we duck into.
Kind of in
Right.
there. You're a little high, Mark.
Yeah, a little high. It's right underneath those two white things that are right next to each other to the right of the blue canopy. If you think about that on the interior. So we go in and we're pretty centralized, and then we go north up along that line and check two of the, yep, from that point we go, and then we head left out of there. That takes us into the main area. It's up like a forklift ramp, and they have an HVAC company inside, and they are constantly moving and shifting boxes and different types of equipment all over. So every week we go in there, it looks different. So we navigate by the support beams that are used. You know, they're all lettered and numbered A through Z and 1 through 40 something. So we look for J10, we move over and look for G6, we go find H14, and then we record the readings and otherwise that's associated with those maintenance machines. And then, yeah, so sometimes we run into workers and HVAC units and otherwise. And like Cameron was saying, we're really just doing the maintenance on those to make sure no air is seeping into the workspace, and instead it's getting all up to the roof.
So everybody over on the right, because these guys probably don't even go in there very often, to where Mark's cursor is right now, the whole portion of the building there, not Mark's outside now with his cursor, but all of that area to the left and over to where the office is and where he was just describing was offices historically when the building was used for manufacturing. And does it still have carpet over most of it? It does, doesn't it? At least it did the last time I was there, which was 3 or 4 months ago.
All
No?
just cement now.
Have they removed all the carpet over there?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
The only thing are walls that are separating massive sections. Like there's not individual cubicles anymore, but just separated huge areas. It's very echoey.
That's new. That's changed. And I mean new since like February or March or February, when I think I was there last, because that you still did have divided up into like areas with cubes and such. I mean, you still have carpet in the hallway outside your office, right? Or not?
Yep.
Yeah. That conference room right there still have carpet, or has that been changed?
Very nice and waiting for a conference. We keep it clean.
Yeah. The rest of the building, however, is very open. And remember, 750,000 square feet is about 17 acres. So this is huge. This is a big building, everybody. There's show them where the main walls are, guys. So there's a main wall right by where it says clean energy fuels moving north. It goes north to south. And there's one other main wall, and that you are almost right on it, Mark. It's down below the red dot, and you can see it going across from there. That's the main wall also. Otherwise, that whole area where the clean energy fuels and the red dot, that's all one big open space. And the one down below it, which is partially off your screen now, is one big open space. There, yep. And then there's actually a mezzanine, which means a second floor in a portion right kind of where the red dot is actually, and going to the west for about half of that distance to the wall. And then there's a second story. See that little weird triangular section that's going off the west end of the building? It's kind of a broken triangle at the very end of it. Yeah, you're right below it now, Mark. That's 2 stories, and that was always classrooms and that was where they would do. That's where the engineers were at, guys. I don't think I've ever even told Cam and Gray that. And you probably have never had any reason to go out there. We don't do any sampling there. It was never part of the manufacturing. And so that's what that is. So now show them where our treatment system, show them our treatment building. So Mark, up on the north, near Northwoods, north and east of the building, and then I'm going to have you zoom down and you'll see another place these guys hang out, which is where we have a groundwater treatment system that's been there 25 years now. So So zoom down, Mark, but you're gonna have to move down the screen because it's close to Northwoods. It's actually,
It,
yep, there you
yeah.
go.
And then it's the small building on the left,
There it is, yep.
silver top. Yep. Silver roof. Down to
No,
the
you missed it, Mark. It's the silver roofed one with the corrugated silver roof there.
there you go.
And that's all fenced in and there's a locked gate on it. Boy, when that picture was taken, there aren't that many barrels sitting out there right now, are there? Because if there
Not that
are,
many.
we ought to be selling them, giving them away because they're valuable. That's a utility station right next to it, everybody. This site is really valuable and probably eventually in the parking area, because there's not anywhere a need for all that parking anymore. It'll become very likely a data center, or there's going to be one near here, because that is a very large power substation. A lot of underutilized power there. So now zoom back out, Mark, and go back over to the building and let these guys show you where our treatment, our pilot scale is.
Yeah, if you go,
Near Northwoods, guys. Anyway,
Mhm.
keep telling.
yeah, on the very north end of the building, in the far parking lot where the color changes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right there. Zoom in. Yeah, right where your mouse is, zoom in. And then to the left just a bit.
Yeah.
A little bit more. Yeah, right. Yeah. Where the cement kind of splits, just a little further to the left. There, that red panel. We're right about there, right, Kim?
Pretty close. Yeah.
Right too
Yeah,
far.
it's right
Right
around
too
there.
far.
And that thing that's got, looks like a solar panel, there's a gate there. That was the entry area when there was a big manufacturing. It still is, but it's not manned at all now. And that gate is either open or closed, depending on whether
And then
there's.
the little bus stop waiting area too that still has the metal rungs that you can walk through and a counter that goes, and it's pretty neat. Still goes, still runs.
So Mark, zoom out a little, and I want to actually look at the old wastewater treatment, because we've talked about it a little, but we've never been able to have view like this, because I want to have these guys tell me something about it. It's below, it's south of the building, Mark, so it's down at the lower. You're too high for it. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Now go to your left. You're now too low. You're off the property. Keep going, scroll to the right. Yeah. It's the right. Keep going further. Keep going. You're almost there.
White
that,
dot.
That white dot that's what's called the wastewater treatment area. And you can see the fence that's around. Where were the doors open at, guys? Were they up there where those stairs go into that white?
Front of the building, the north side of the square building.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right where because that's right where the gate is and where the gate comes down.
Mm-hmm.
And the building I said where those chairs were is that little corrugated roofed one. Is that where you looked in there and that was completely empty?
Yeah, it was empty, and there's one chair that's all rusted sitting outside of it. So it looked like it would have been nice.
No, these were really nice. So everybody, this is when this was a manufacturing plant, which by the way, the last year that it manufactured anything was in the 80s, 1988. This was what they treated their wastewater before it then went out into the city system. So go back up to where the groundwater treatment building is, and I'll show you where the outfall, because our waste comes out. It's in that grassy area. It's actually by a tree. These guys may not even know where it is. Do you guys know where the effluent goes? Over to the in that tree below the.
Yeah, I think it's close to where they have the HVAC direct sign now.
You're above it, Mark. It's right below there still. Keep going down a little further. There's that big tree right there, and it's almost underneath. You're in the area. It's right around there. There's a overhead that's kind of right over the top of it. So now look and see if there's street view out on Northwoods to where we can look at Northwoods. Yep, there is. So start right there and you'll be able to look. There's the groundwater treatment building. No, that's not it. That's the power building, isn't it, guys? Or is that the, no, that
That's
is.
it.
It's the,
That's it,
yeah.
So now when that picture was taken, there's no barrels there. So now keep going that way on Northwoods, Mark, because then they'll show you when to look over and you'll actually see where this pilot scale is that they're working on. But you can start to see how big this building is. You see how far, how it goes and goes and goes with all these vehicles driving by it.
You're getting there.
Yeah, getting close. Should be next parking lot on your left.
Yeah, I see a big semi truck coming at
No,
me.
it's after those docks. So it's
Okay.
past the docks.
To your left more now, but
Left.
left, yeah. So right
Mm.
about where that blue car is. Yep.
Mm.
A little further to the right of that. But
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll
Well,
be able to see the box or not. You might be able, yeah, kind of.
yeah, but it doesn't let me zoom in anymore.
Mm.
Oh, no, hold on. Yeah, I
There you go.
can. There.
So see the nice. So further right of the blue car. And then you
Yep,
see that
there's
little
the
black
box.
box.
Yeah.
That's it. So that holds our readers that we go out and check weekly and record the value of, make sure that they're fully operating as they should be. All that kind of stuff. And then there's one located inside as well. That's below a staircase. So
Go back. So get out of street view. And let's go back to the aerial view. I want to see if we can see if it'll zoom in enough to see something on the other side of the interstate. So we're going to go back towards, so get out of street view, Mark.
Okay. All right. I can.
You
Good
click
point.
that down on the bottom where you got into it at.
I think it's the X in the upper right too. Will work.
Yeah,
There you go.
that worked.
All right, zoom. Let's zoom down. I want to see if we can zoom enough to where we see a monitoring well. Oh, guys, I want to show you where, follow the west wall of the building, Mark, out where that little weird triangle thing is, all the way down to the south corner. Keep going south now. Okay. Now see if you can zoom any further in.
Nope. Won't
No, is
let
that
me.
it?
Nope.
That
That's it.
window well, where there's no window, where the well is right by it that had discolored oily in it. Isn't that
Oh.
right down almost to the end of the building, correct?
Yeah, it's up just a little bit from where you're at.
Go up, go north,
North.
Mark.
Sorry. It's like right off that walk that you passed.
You're
Go down.
You're past.
Yeah, see that little walkway. Am I
Mhm.
right, Cameron?
Yep.
I'm remembering
Yep. Just a little bit further south of that walkway, but yeah, in the right area.
That's what I thought. It's still in the grass, right? It's before you get to the
Mhm.
Yes.
concrete.
Yes.
You don't really see it in this picture. This
Mhm.
is the problem.
It's
Well,
right off the building.
Yeah. Anyway, zoom out now a little. We've got 10 minutes left. What other questions to the audience? Is there anything coming from the audience?
Yeah, let me check. Look at questions. All right. Okay, so I see question already from Francis. What kind of contamination are you looking for?
I'll let them answer.
Main chemical is TCE.
That's an acronym, everybody, for something that I don't expect Cam to know. Eventually, he's going to learn this.
I've read it 500 times, I bet. Trichloride.
Dichloroethene.
Ethene.
Ethene. That's the important part of it. It's an ethene. So
Ethene.
it's trichloroethene. And
I
that
bet
was the chemical that was used by General Motors when they made these plastic parts for vehicles. And go back, Mark, to the drawing. So bring the
Okay.
map up again, and I'll show you where it came from. Look for other questions too, Mark. So go to the west side of the building again. You're going to need to zoom out a little way. Up towards Northwoods, up towards the road, and to see where the driveway's coming in there, below the inn in Northwoods, okay? And there's a parking lot looking area to the left of that.
Here.
That way, yep. About there was a 1 million gallon underground TCE tank.
Oh, wow.
1 million gallons, everybody. Huge. A swimming pool in your backyard's 10,000 gallons. An Olympic-sized swimming pool is 250,000 gallons. So a 1 million gallons is 4 Olympic-sized swimming pools. So Francis says, is TCE getting flushed out of the groundwater, or is the biology degrading it? That's a great question. Both. Probably when the leak occurred, which was way before anybody was aware of it, it was being flushed. It's now being biologically degraded. And we're enhancing that by this system that we just told you. That you can go back over and see that box from the air, Mark, if you go to the right now. That's where we've got a place where we've put, we have wells and we have electrodes down in the water. So we're adding basically molasses type materials that into the groundwater, and that's working on degrading the TCE. Great question. Mark, what other? I don't know why I only saw that one. I saw that one come across, but I didn't see any other questions.
Yeah, I see that that was the last one there. I think there are more following that. So somebody got it right. Yeah, Alicia got it right. TCE trichloroethene.
Yeah,
I bet there's chlorine in it.
well, that's where the Cl comes from. Yep, trichlor.
Right. Is this
Oh yeah, fungi can. I mean, I should not have. Did I say bacterial? I shouldn't have. It's better way to describe what we're trying to do is to get microbiological degradation. So we don't care what microbe breaks it down, but a lot of them will. I mean, this TCE is very small molecule, and it's taken up by microorganisms when they just take in food and water. So they do what's needed to live, and their bodies metabolize it, and it actually comes out of them. They excrete it as a breakdown product, which is something called 1,2-cis dichloroethene. It's a different chemical. And then eventually it becomes what's called vinyl chloride. So it's just the chloride molecules, a smaller molecule. And those are not toxic. That one isn't. Vinyl chloride isn't. DCE is marginally, not really a problem. It's pretty well known that TCE causes cancer. And so that's why we're really concerned about TCE itself. And we want it to degrade. And once it degrades, eventually it goes away. Alicia just put in a comment about electrodes. That's what we're doing in our new treatment is we're using a combination of electrodes, so electrical stimulation of the water, and of biological enhancement with the like I said, sophisticated word for molasses that we're using.
And is this a Superfund site?
No, it's not. And most people don't even understand what Superfund sites are. Do you guys know? I mean, it's interesting. Don't feel bad. Tell me what you would. Why is this site not? Let's go there. Why is this not a Superfund site? There's one really simple reason.
It's a guess, but privately owned.
Nope, that has nothing to do with it. I don't expect you to get this right, by the way, so don't feel bad. Gray, do you have a guess?
I genuinely don't have a guess. I can't even.
Superfund sites, and there are in the neighborhood of 900 of them throughout the United States now, are those sites where there was some kind of chemical, some kind of contamination, and they basically were financially abandoned by the polluters. So the polluters created the problem, and they are doing nothing to clean them up. And therefore, our federal government created what was called the Superfund, and there's monies available to deal with those sites that have been, and when I say abandoned, I don't just mean physically left by them, but to where the company ignored that there was a problem or whatever, and they just have never had them to deal with. So Superfund sites, and there is one really well-known one in Dayton, are sites where either they're abandoned or the companies that caused the problem, and this is newer Superfund sites, and that's the other one that's they can't afford, they would go bankrupt. They would not be in business anymore if they even tried to clean it up themselves. So they get money from a federal source, from the Superfund. This site has always been cleaned up initially by Delphi, which was a subsidiary of General Motors. They paid for the original work, and they had to put money into a fund. And now the owners that have happened since Delphi have gotten that money, and that money is what's used to clean up the site. That money will go away at some point. It'll be gone. And when that happens, the site could become a Superfund site if the parties that were liable literally just abandoned it and went away from it. But a Superfund site is a site that was essentially abandoned before it was cleaned up financially, not necessarily, because many cases Superfund sites are still occupied by the polluter, and yet this problem is so huge that there's no way they can ever pay for it to clean it up. So they financially abandoned it.
Okay.
This site's never had that happen. This site, there's always been monies to pay for the problems, to deal with the issues.
All right.
Great
So,
questions.
yep.
Now let's end this with Gray and Cam getting a chance to ask us some questions. We'll only go another 5 to 10 minutes at the most, but and the audience, if you've got anything else you can ask, but if you guys have anything you want to ask me or ask Mark or ask the audience, go for it.
How long has the community existed?
I'm sorry, how much what?
Oh. How long has the EAT community existed?
Yeah, great question. Thank you. I'm going to test Mark. Mark, how long is the EAT community? Let's see if he gets it right, since he's been there
Oh,
from day one. But
I would say 9 years. I might be off, but
no, you're not off. He's getting it close. We did our very first session on June 6th, 2016. So we are just past, a little bit more than a month past our 9th anniversary.
Wow.
okay.
Where was I when I did that first session, Mark?
You were somewhere at the airport, I believe. But I don't remember which airport you were at.
Well, you're wrong about that one. And it's
Okay.
only because it was a little bit of a traumatic situation that I probably remember as well as I do, but I'll tell you in a second. Before I go there, let's see if either Cam or Gray have any questions, or the audience, any others to ask.
I guess I was impressed by what who was it? Alicia was adding in, just the immediate knowledge and understanding. Is there the long term like following, and that's why people are so aware of kind of what we're talking about? Is is that what?
Alicia's just brighter than snot. That's a weird saying from old days. Alicia is like one brilliant lady, and she just has ways to find stuff that I don't. But no, actually, I'm pretty sure there's enough information about our site, right, that you just do a Google search and you can find. Because she
Yeah.
just put up another bit of data that's accurate. I mean, there's nothing that she just put another one I saw flash by about Delphi and about what they did business-wise there. So back to about 1990, you will find stuff on the internet about activities at companies.
I guess
Yeah.
I was more meaning like I was surprised to see yeah, like you said, that amount of knowledge coming out just so quickly about everything that's going on. So it's cool to see everybody so involved.
I'm being very serious. Alicia's just is a very brilliant lady and is just on top of stuff. So it's just really cool. Cam, any other questions from you?
Nothing else really from me.
Mark hasn't asked anything today. He usually has something.
Now, there's one more question from the audience. I'll ask that. What will this site be used for eventually?
Great question. It is being used. That's what's cool, everybody. Even though and this is a big environmental problem, right? It's not at all. This is serious. The finance, by the way, a lot of people think Superfund has to do with the size of a problem. It doesn't. I mean, there are Superfund sites that really don't have maybe a tenth of the amount of problems dollar-wise as this one does. But there are some that have way, way larger problems too. But this site, starting in 2017, okay, I'm trying to make sure I get the date right, began to be reused. So it sat vacant for a number of years. And in 2017, the current owners, which is a company called Serta, they're based out of Cincinnati, bought it. And since then, they have leased it to a variety of different users. Unfortunately, a really large tornado hit Dayton. Guys, remember what year? 2020. It was during the pandemic, was it? Or was it 19?
I think it was 19.
Just before, you know.
Yeah. Well, it caused huge damage south of here, so in Dayton, and at least 2 or 3 companies moved their operations into this building because it was available. And so that is one of the earliest uses. Another use was a company that was a manufacturing company that used CNC machines and laser printers, and they just grew out of it, is why they ultimately moved. They got their business got big enough, they needed a little more modern space. This is an old space. This building was built, by the way, we didn't talk about it, but World War II time frame. It's been there a long time. And now, as these guys said, and they used an acronym. And as scientists, we use acronyms a lot. So maybe you guys didn't understand what HVAC means. HVAC means heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And that's what HVAC acronym. So the company that's in there now mainly is storing. They don't manufacture anything, right, guys? They don't make anything in there at all, I don't believe.
They definitely make some smaller stuff, but nothing. They're not making the
Air
actual units
conditioning
themselves.
or heating systems themselves. Okay. I didn't even know that they made anything. So they're doing at least a little bit of manufacturing.
They at
But,
least assemble.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then people buy them both wholesale and retail and then install them somewhere. So that's the primary current use. This HVAC system company's been there 3 years, maybe. I don't even know if it's that long, 2 or 3 years. Unfortunately, a lot of these older sites like this do stay abandoned for longer than they should before they start to get used again. But this one's being reused, and it's very positive. And there's not nearly as many employees anymore for these kinds of things. Like how many people, what's the most cars you've ever seen in the parking lot there?
40 to
20?
50, maybe 40.
Yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
yeah. And that these pictures, those over aerials were done on weekends, by the way, guy, because there's been on weekdays almost all the time. There's cars now in that lot. I was a little shocked that the lot was as empty as it was, because it's been since the system was installed. The prototype system that we have there. So, by the way, that don't ever look at a Google picture and read the date and think that that's really when they took those photos. It just means that it was sometime after that date. Show the aerial again, Mark, because you're going to see a date just a little bit if you don't know it. You can kind of see in the bottom of these aerials, depending on what map they use.
Yeah, it says 2025, map data 2025.
Yeah, that's their copyright date. So
Mm.
I don't know that that means anything. It doesn't mean it's necessarily taken this year. Do you guys think it
Right.
is? I don't think it was. I don't think this is from this year.
I could tell you if you zoom out more, there is in the woods where we sample to the east of the building. Like if zoom out pretty far, they have cleared out a good section of woods by Kroger.
Oh, that's a good.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's an easy one to see. So the blue dot on the far right side of the screen.
Yeah, that's Kroger. Yeah.
Go a
Scroll.
little bit further right. Yeah, see, they took out a big section of that woods this year, so
The small, yeah, right there.
So it's not 25. That just means they copyrighted it, guys. I know what I
Right.
was going to show earlier. You can, where the H is, Mark, which is a medical, probably urgent care, and there's some green grassy area down below that. I want you to zoom in on that. I want to show these guys where we had some well. No, you're in the wrong place, Mark. Oh yeah, no, you're in the right place. Sorry. It's up higher though. We need to go. No, yeah, go that way. Yep. You're going there. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. That little triangle where Northwoods comes in, right there. You see the white spots? Those were wells, and I'm not sure they're even still there. The white in the green grass are wellheads.
Mm-hmm.
These,
Yep.
okay.
And I don't think we sample them anymore. And then where we had one destroyed, follow Northwoods farther to the east, Mark. We had somebody vandalize and literally, and it's stupid. I don't know why they took it out. It's right on Northwoods. It's right next to the parking lot. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. That one that's right there in that corner. See where you drive in? Not that one. I think that one might, it's right there. It's right by there. Somebody just came in and just destroyed that. And the wellheads themselves, everybody, are only like 6 inches in size, and we're not seeing them. These are objects next to them that you're seeing. But we never could figure out a motive. Why is somebody going to take out something like that? Doesn't make any sense. All right, well, we are over time. Thank you for Kim and Gray for hanging out a little bit longer, and thank you, audience, for being amazing. You asked some great questions. Any thoughts about the TCE degradation? Yes, we do, Alicia. The degradation products, every step in the degradation, they become less and less toxic. And there is no evidence that the immediate breakdown process of TCE, which is 1,2-dis, you don't need to know the name, but it's a long chemical name, has any toxicity, frankly. Vinyl chloride, which is the next level down, has no evidence. Vinyl chloride is used as like in everything. It's in it's a degradation of a lot of plastics. And then ultimately the next step is it's methane. It'll go down to a molecule which is very small, which has just got a little chlorine in it, and then the chlorine eventually will become chloride, which is just common in our water and soils. So at some level. Great question. You guys have been very cool today, the audience. Thank you. All right, been fun. I will see some of you tomorrow. We're going to be Talk with Wayne at what time do we do that? 3 o'clock tomorrow,
3
everybody.
o'clock,
So,
correct.
3
3
o'clock
o'clock
Mountain
Mountain.
Time, 3
Yep.
Mountain Time. And no guests, but you guys can come on and be guests, because almost always we have guests show up. Last week we had Mark, Doug Ness.
Yes.
We had several other people that just show up. So you guys could just show up and we'll talk with you. So I want to talk about Bangladesh more. I want to figure
Yeah.
out, we're going to become conspiracy people and figure out why they're covering up all these people that were killed. So
Yeah, that's real conspiracy.
yeah, that's just disconcerting to know that happened. So all right. Adios all. Bye-bye.
Everybody